Here's the current state of the French Broad River. It has not come over the tracks yet, but it's gonna.
We were in direct path of the river, unfortunately. So we were the first to go.
September 27th, 2024. Walls of water pour out of the sky from Hurricane Helene, overtaking the banks of our mountain rivers. In our lifetimes, a storm unlike any other.
My thoughts were to start crying or go jump off the bridge because I was so devastated. I'm so hurt.
The devastation to property, communities, and lives. More than 100 killed, hundreds of thousands impacted.
Every day feels a little bit differently. There's times when I still wake up in disbelief that this is actually the world.
No water to drink, food inaccessible, businesses destroyed.
If you want to know what we've been dealing with and the mess that we're dealing with, just take a shot of that.
But people quickly came together to help each other, and that continues as Western North Carolina rebuilds.
It's good people, we're good people. Let's get together and get some stuff done.
Every month,
Every week,
every day.
building hope after Helene.
And thank you for joining us for this special News 13 Town Hall. Your voice, your future, hope after Helene. I'm Holly Headrick.
And I'm Patrick Hussion. This evening, we'll be talking with some of those directly impacted by Helene, first responders and community leaders. Now, 6 months after the storm, discussions just like this one here tonight remain vital to just bring people together in order to move forward together.
Let's introduce our guests. From left to right, Garin Creek Fire Chief Wade Wright of Fairview. From the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Major Brittany Hine. Ceramic artist, formerly at Curve Studios in the River Arts District, Maria Andrade.
We also have Yancey County Sheriff Shane Hilliard, Rhodesbury Farm owner Dalton Rhodes. He's a family-owned farm there in Henderson County, and Asheville Vice Mayor Antoinette Mosley. Thank you all so much for being here. We know a lot is happening out there, and thank you for taking the time to be here.
Let's get started. Our first question goes to Chief Wade Wright. Obviously, your community suffered a lot of loss. What is the biggest obstacle that neighbors have now moving forward?
The neighbors right now is trying to get their life back together, trying to get stuff put back together, and trying to move on with what happened.
What do you need?
Just everybody working together, getting things put back together, you know, and it's going to take a while to get that done. So.
Do you see that progress happening in the 6 months?
It's coming along. It's slow, but it's coming.
You talked with me before on a story that we did prior to this about the cleanup and property cleanup. What do you need and what kind of resources do you need out there to clean up the property so that they can rebuild?
Well, we still got a lot of properties that needs to be cleaned up. We're not seeing that right now. They're cleaning the creek banks and stuff up like that, but as far as the property, not a lot of it's getting done, you know, for people to start rebuilding.
And the hope is that the hope remains there
yes.
in that very hard-hit community. And right. Yancey County Sheriff Shane Hilliard, you know, your own parents lost their home in this storm, and we've seen video of that, and I know it's very hard to watch. How has that personal experience for you as one of the leading first responders in your county brought you even closer to the people in your community and as we look to possible future disasters down the road?
So, I mean, it was tough, you know, those finding out that your parents had lost their homes and you couldn't get to them and, you know, didn't know if they were alive initially to start with. But God spared their lives and the people's been great. And, you know, they're starting the rebuild phase, getting ready to start framing on the house next week. So I just, you know, the message is there is hope and there is help out there for people who have lost everything.
And you're seeing this video play out. This is your parents' home. What goes through your mind when you watch this?
So yeah, that's my parents' home coming down the river, and that's my 92-year-old grandmother's home there that my parents' home actually hit. I mean, you know, you just see all the work and all the memories. My grandfather built that home 70 years ago that my grandmother lived in, and you just see all those memories and all that hard work going down the river. It's tough to watch.
And speaking of loss, Maria, you lost your ceramic artist, formerly at Curve Studios, which you cannot return to now in the River Arts District. Talk to us about your loss and moving forward. You actually have a new studio now.
I do. Well, we were prepared for the storm a little bit ahead of time because we had flooded in 2004. So our landlord, Patty Giorno, definitely educated all her tenants about being storm aware. So we were able to evacuate a lot of our work and our finished inventory, which was crucial because we were able to sell it later to produce some income. But losing the community of Curve was really difficult. I had been there for 17 years. The River Arts District has been my home for 22 years. So that was tough. I'm currently now, though, at a new place. The Village Potters is going to reopen. They were in Riverview Station, also got flooded out, and they're moving into Westgate.
Are other people having hopeful stories like this as well who were impacted there?
Yes. Everyone, so many people just opened their doors. I had friends who called me from Bryson City, from Brevard, being like, you can come work at my studio, you can use all my equipment. High water clays also was hard hit, so for the ceramic community in particular, they made clay. You can, lots of people are having to remake clay because I'm not sure what's going to happen with them. So for our materials, we just couldn't make anything.
And before we move on, I am curious. I know the community is huge in Asheville, and other communities around the Western North Carolina region are just very, very close knit. Has anybody come even closer to folks you've never heard of, never met since the storm? And does anyone have an example of that?
Of people coming?
Of just meeting new people, connecting with brand new people as as you all work together, right?
Well, I can tell you, immediately after the storm, neighborhood distribution sites popped up. I share your disbelief. It turns out my childhood home, where my parents raised my brother and myself, it was virtually destroyed in the storm. I was fortunate enough to not be there that night, but by the time I got home to see it, someone, and I still don't know who, came with a chainsaw and started chopping up the tree. I had the opportunity to go from neighborhood to neighborhood, and in each neighborhood there was story after story about neighbors who didn't know each other before the storm coming together, and now they're best of buddies, and their grandchildren are playing with each other. So that's a positive, I believe, that came from this disaster.
That is such a takeaway. Yeah. I've heard many people say, well, now I know my neighbors. Mm-hmm. And it's just that short phrase, and people just keep saying that. Now I know who they are. I know who lives 3 doors down, and I never had talked to them before.
It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big
Absolutely.
deal.
Well, throughout the week, we've asked you to send in your questions for our panel.
Here's News 13's Charles Perez with one of those questions for Vice Mayor Mosley. Okay.
This question comes from James Meader. He's a West Asheville resident and business owner, and he sent us this video.
Obviously, this is a terrible situation that caused a ton of damage to people and businesses. Obviously, we have to worry about the recovery aspect of this. However, as a resident and business owner, I also see this as a great opportunity for us to reimagine Asheville. I wanted to know specifically what policies or concepts are being used in order to grow a dynamic and more resilient Asheville, economically speaking.
In your response?
Yeah. So I'd like to thank James for that question. I think I would be remiss if I didn't point out how resilient the community has been from the start of this whole disaster. And I believe that that community response is really going to set the stage for how we move forward. What I can tell you is that the City Council, folks working in the city, we have honed in on what Asheville looks like in the future, what success looks like. One of my mantras is, even when I lose, I win. And I found myself saying that over and over shortly after the storm hit. We're honing in on 4 areas in particular. People, making sure that everything we do is with care and concern for the people involved. Our infrastructure. We're going to build back infrastructure better than it was before so that it can sustain additional damage that may come our way. We're also laser focused on housing accessibility, and we're also focusing on economic recovery with an eye particularly towards our small businesses. So Our goal is to have Asheville 5 years from now be better than the Asheville on September 26th, 2004, 2024.
That's quite the goal, quite the undertaking. But the plan is in place. Thank you, Vice Mayor Mosley. Now, Dalton Roads, you are is a family-owned business there. You're at Rhodes Berry Farm in Henderson County. You know, you lost your entire crop during this storm. You've sent us the videos, sent us the pictures. What are your conversations with other farmers in your area in the 6 months since the storm in terms of getting everything you need, and what are the conversations like amongst the farmers there?
Well, when it first happened, I think everybody went out and they just looked at the damage and they're like, this is awful. And then all of a sudden you start seeing stuff like all these houses destroyed. You see your neighbors who lost everything. You might see someone who passed away. And I think everybody just realized then that we've got to take care of these immediate needs right now, and we're going to go help anybody we can. And then we'll worry about this later because it's still going to be there. And then about a month later, after you finally get all that stuff taken care of, everybody was really looking at what it looks like there on the farm. And you just got to plow forward and start doing stuff. And we've been doing it, and we've been being promised that there's financial aid on the way, but we haven't seen any of it yet. So that's the main thing people are concerned about right now.
How are those kitchen table, those dinner table conversations going in the family right now?
They're just nervous about this year because we've done a lot of work, but we still need some help to finish getting everything done. And pretty much every farm, I know at least in Henderson County, probably Western North Carolina, they're all having those same conversations right now.
And go ahead.
So the funding, you think the funding is the first thing versus more hands on the ground?
Right. Because, I mean, we have the capability to do it. We just don't want to spend all the money, and then you don't have any money left to grow your crop this year.
Right. And the community plays a big role in that. You and I were talking before this. You know, how can they help?
Yeah, just buy local if you can. We have some great grocery stores around here, especially Ingles, that they love buying local stuff, so support them and they support us.
All right, and talking about boots on the ground, Major Brittany Hine from the Army Corps of Engineers is here. And how much private property has been cleared? I know this is something that the fire chief and the Fairview community are talking about. Where do you guys stand? You're working on public property. We know the rivers and the creeks and the private property. You have your hands full.
Yes. So we have the right-of-way mission, the waterway debris mission, as well as the private property and commercial property as well. To date, we've cleared 1,319 private property sites thus far in Buncombe County. We're working with several other counties as we get their packets in so that we can then dispatch units to go and complete that as well.
How is it going for you? I mean, when you guys get out there and you see the progress that you're making, I mean, I know there's so much damage. How does it feel?
It feels amazing to assist the community. We're very passionate to be here. We've been here from the beginning. We continue to be here, and we'll be here until mission complete. Probably the biggest holdup with some of that is just getting out and collecting those ROEs, getting the full packets together, and then dispatching our contractors to complete them. But we are working extremely diligently to get that done in the most timely manner possible.
And how do people submit that? Can they still submit to get you guys to come out to their property?
Absolutely. So we have physical sites out at Chimney Rock. We have a physical site there in several locations. You can reach out to your county. You can reach out to us directly. We want to facilitate that. So if anyone is interested, please reach out and we will support. We have an infographic that we send out on Monday and Thursday to all counties and cities that we are working with. And there's a QR code on there, and all the information you need is right there to apply. And if nothing else, just give us a call. We want to support.
And I'm curious, are you inundated with these types of requests, or should more people be requesting the help of the Corps?
I would say we have a steady state right now, but I don't think it's about being inundated. It's if you need the help, please apply. We want to help.
Good. Sheriff Hilliard, back to your, again, your community in Yancey County and your sheriff's office there. What, if anything, might change going forward? What have you learned as a department to respond to these storms, to be better, or just do more of the same that you've been doing to help the people of your community?
You know, one big thing is redundancy in communication. You know, as we all know, our communication system totally failed with cell phones. So we're looking at how we can be better prepared there and have backups for that. And, you know, obviously stockpile Starlinks. You know, before this, I think our county, you know, maybe had one Starlink, and now, you know, that's something that's become very common. And then just looking, how do we plan for what's going on right now? You know, the fires and, you know, what's it going to look like in the future with landslides if, you know, the next time a hurricane comes through, and how do we prepare for that? Is it, you know, taking the beach approach where you see everybody in the county kind of evacuating, maybe to the beach to get away from the hurricane? But there's a lot to take in and consider.
And Chief Wright, let's turn that to you. You had all of the landslides in your area. We've got the fires right now. How are you handling everything and keeping your community uplifted and keeping your resources available?
Well, everybody's, like I say, sticking together. We're trying to help out departments that needs help. You know, that's sending people out for the fires. We're trying to help cover their district and doing, you know, what automatic aids and stuff do. So each department's pitching in and, you know, trying to get it done.
And what about the communication that the sheriff was talking about? I know that you guys also struggled, especially in Fairview, with not having any communication the night of the storm. Have there been any progress in getting more of those things remedied?
Yeah, well, whenever everything went down, the power and everything, yeah, we was lacking on communications. It was hard to deal with the phone service, or radios, you know, that we dispatch off. And but we're working on some of that and trying to get some stuff put back in place to, if something happens, we can fall back to.
All right. Now, as we look ahead deep into the area's recovery, many questions about debris removal and improving infrastructure, as we've talked about, have come up.
And those issues were also addressed by another one of our viewers. Once again, here's News 13's Charles Perez.
We got this question from Brenda, who so far has been impressed with the quality of debris removal around Asheville. She says, I'd like to understand the plans for Biltmore Village. This area always floods. Will there be significant changes to the infrastructure? And when does the city anticipate the area getting back to normal?
So we'll turn that first to you, Major Hine, about cleanup there. Do you guys have contracts to go into Biltmore Village and work there, or have you already been there?
We have been throughout Asheville thus far. We did have a big surge in Buncombe, and we continue to work there, and we will. So to put it in perspective, we just hit the mark this week of picking over 3 million cubic yardage of debris thus far across our mission set, and we'll continue to do so. When it comes to the infrastructure with Biltmore Village, I believe that would be more with Asheville and the community. However, we are always here to support when it comes to assessments and follow-on missions as well.
Vice Mayor Mosley, any thoughts on that as well?
Well, I'm really grateful for the work that's being done. I think I need to go ahead and thank you, because on my ride here, I was getting a call about debris removal from my property. So you all are doing great work. And there's much time and effort that's going towards the River Arts District and Biltmore Village. And the sooner the better, but you're doing everything you can as quickly as you can. So we're appreciative of that.
Maria, do you have any thoughts on that about your area?
Well, I would love to see the buildings on the other side of the railroad tracks, like mine, that were reopened, but I think the electrical situation is for the first floors of the buildings. The owners don't know yet what's going to happen with that. But the upper side of the RAD has been clean. Everything is open. People are working. It's, you know, we need visitors. So it still breaks my heart to drive through, because I know the building owners down there, and, you know, they're just trying to keep their buildings and clean them as best they can. And the city, you know, has been helping. It's huge. In front of River Station, there's just like a hole from where the water went under the sidewalks and just created, like, I don't even know where you start, but they're doing stuff.
Well, Maria, do you have any thoughts or advice for, and it doesn't have to be an artist, but a business owner, small business owner who's, you know, trying to get back to work? You know, you mentioned, you know, just weeks after the storm, you were right back in the studio creating, and that's very hopeful in itself, just creating that. So what do you have to say for others who are just wondering, where do I go now? It's been 6 months.
Well, Mountain BizWorks is a great place to get help. I'm right now part of a cohort where they're trying to keep people in business. So I run into folks I know from Marshall, from Spruce Pine, from Bakersville, all artists who, they're trying to keep us in business and open. So I would say reach into the community, because there are folks who will help you write grants, will help you with your taxes, all the things that you need. That's probably the best thing, is looking to your community, because they are there ready to help you. You just hopefully can reach out.
And how about from a farming standpoint? What have you found to be most valuable that maybe somebody else in your industry doesn't know?
Mainly just having a good connection with your local farm service agency center, because like the way these federal funds work and everything, it's real complicated, and you have to do everything in the right steps. But if you don't know the people and you don't try to work through that process, then I'd say there's a slim to none chance that you actually do end up getting help. So just working through that process, being patient with them, they're doing the best they can.
Patience is a word that we've seen crop up quite a lot. I do want to, Vice Mayor Mosley, you touched on 5 years from now and what that plan might what might come to fruition. But let's touch more on that. If these conversations are being had in the mayor's office, in the city planner's office, and everything is sort of rolling right now, 6 months after the storm, what does Asheville look like 5 years from now? What from a festival standpoint, from a downtown business standpoint?
To get the visitors back, like we were talking about. Yeah.
So let me start by saying that Asheville is open for business right now. I've been downtown most days, and I'm taking advantage of the opportunity to get in places that perhaps normally I wouldn't be able to get into. But 5 years from now, I see a downtown where I'm going to have to wait 30 minutes to get into karate. More festivals coming to us. We have already taken steps to allow certain activities to take place downtown. While we might not go back to the Bell Share days, downtown after 5, we're anticipating its return. And local businesses are asking everyone to come and see us. 5 years from now, I think looks better than 1 year ago, for sure.
And with more people coming back to the Asheville area, certainly that's going to help all of the counties in Western North Carolina bring in some people. Sheriff, what do your businesses need there?
Businesses, obviously October is, our best month for tourism for the Leafs, and they suffered a great loss there. So I think just people, like he said earlier, shop local, eating local, spending as much money as they can in your own county.
Is that the feeling that a lot of you may have at this point? As much devastation as everyone has been dealing with, and a lot, especially first responders and those who have lost your businesses, that shopping local, buying local, that resiliency, that's going to be much stronger than it was before the storm. Is that sort of the feeling that you guys have in your communities? Yeah?
Sure.
Good.
Let's open it up to each other. Does anybody have any questions or anything that you could say to anybody else that you think might be helpful after listening to everybody's story here?
I can hop in. If in your area that the Corps is working in, if you see an issue or something that you feel we missed, please report it to us. We want to go and get it. We want to support, especially with right-of-way. We call it a hotspot. If you identify it, we will go and get it. We want to get it. So just open lines of communication, please reach out.
And we'll go ahead and make sure we get that information that you were talking about, that QR code on our website following this, so that people can go there and reach out to you very easily too.
All right, good. And again, I think patience is key, but I feel that we are coming out of this, and it is conversations like this that connect people and give people resources and the knowledge to know where to go to, whether it's farming, artists, the artist community, or the first responders who are looking after the people in these communities. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for all you do, and we're sorry for those who have lost so much in the storm. Certainly. As we move forward.
But I will say it's nice to talk with all of you you're from very different areas, different jobs. and you all seem hopeful. Every one of you sitting here seems like we're finally, are we over the curve a little bit? Like, are we on the upside, or do you feel like we're leveled out? Where do you each feel like, we'll just kind of go down the line, are we still down here, are we here, or are we on the way up?
Things are starting to improve, but like I say, you know, I know they've got a lot of stuff to take care of, and but there's a lot of stuff they got to keep going with, and whenever you don't see things happening, and you think that they've just left out, but I know they've got a lot more to do.
I know, Major, you felt like it was you're doing a good job and getting out there.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. We've doubled our USACE personnel. We've doubled our contractors, especially with Waterway and PPDR on the ground. Our personnel that are here on the ground, we deployed, are all volunteer. We are, like I said earlier, we're extremely motivated to be here and help you. So many of our people also extend their stay. They're passionate about helping North Carolina, and we'll continue to do so and continue to ramp up to support.
Maria?
We just need visitors. River Arts District is open. All the artists are there working. We would love to see our regulars. You know, they come every year, and I hope they come back because it means a lot.
And everybody else just hoping to move forward and just keep moving forward, I guess, is the message. Okay.
Great. Thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you for coming and telling your stories and providing important information as we move forward from Helene.
Thanks for joining us for this Town Hall special on the 6-month anniversary of Hurricane Helene. And thank you again to our guests who took the time to share their own journeys.
News 13 at 6 is next.